Worries on my mind, it's been a tough week. My life feels a void, there's something that I need. My supplies on the table, I grab a comfy seat. I need to craft to put my mind at ease. Crafting changed my life, it mends my soul. In my happy space, I'm in full control. It's crafting time, craft my troubles away. Give me a world of color to brighten up my day. Crafting videos on, searching what I can do. Sipping on my drink, feeling inspired and new.
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Rise and shine, gifted crafters, because it's Friday! Yay! It's Friday! It's Friday! So happy it's Friday. Yes, TGIF. Good morning, and welcome to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. I see everyone out there is rising up and out of their beds and going ahead and grabbing their favorite little drink. You see Robin's quote basket. She's got the café con leche. So do I. That's kind of my favorite drink in the morning. Sometimes I'll have different things though. But today's definitely a café con leche kind of day. So welcome, and good morning from Arizona, Maryland, Michigan. Wow. Arizona, Sassy, you're waiting for the sunrise. Oh, how beautiful. That's awesome. Awesome. Yes, happy Mother's Day weekend to everyone. Awesome. I see everyone is starting to come into the chat. I hope you guys had a great day yesterday and looking forward to today because it's Friday. Awesome. You just had some coffee, Heather? You do Cuban coffee at 3. I'm with you there. Right back at you. Yeah, you know, that Cuban coffee can be quite addicting. I used to do a lot of that when we were going into the office, and yeah, kind of missed that. Had the little jitters there. Good morning from Ohio. Hey, Barbara, thanks for joining. Awesome. Francine, I see Heather, Melissa, Jenny, Sandra, Mary. Good morning, Belinda from Chicago, Illinois. Boy, nice. Okay, so I hope wherever you are, I know some people say it's kind of rainy and chilly in Maryland, and others, you know, are having a nicer day. So wherever you are, I hope you are nice and cozy and in your spot, because we're going to spend the next hour and we're going to do some crafting together. So I hope you guys really enjoy that. Okay, so let's kind of get started. We've got quite a few things to cover today. Well, first off, I guess before we do anything, guys, the food truck was out of commission for a while, and we had the food cart going, and even that was kind of a little wonky, but I think the food truck is back. So, it's really cool. Food truck is back, and if you want, go ahead and make the line, and, no fighting now. Just get on the line. Food truck's back. We've got all the goodies on there. Go ahead and pick your favorite food because there's no calories. Isn't that awesome? It's a great way to have whatever you want, and it's not gonna do a thing to you. Isn't that great? We've got all kinds of stuff: pastries, coffee, tea, cookies, soda, whatever you're into. We even got some croissants and muffins and a little kale and carrots for you healthy people out there. So go ahead and line up to get that going. Awesome. So yay, we're happy the food truck's back. Yes. You ready for some crafting snack, Fake or McFake? Well, good morning, Joanna, Melissa. Yay, Robin likes the food truck's back. Jenny's the food truck is back. Yes. Okay, so let me grab a sip of my coffee here. Okay. And we've got quite a number of things lined up for you today because, Mother's Day is this weekend on Sunday. So go ahead and spend a little time with some mom, right? Get some mom time in because she deserves it. And, we've got to be there. I know I'll be picking up my mom. And we're going to have like a little lunch brunch type of thing with my daughter and my son, and we're all just gonna kind of head up a little bit north and just kind of have a good time there, just kind of relaxing, and just kind of do probably a lot of talking and just chit-chatting and stuff. So if I get in my craft room, I'm not sure. I'd love a little time at least on Sunday, but we'll see how that goes because it's pretty when you've got a holiday and you're spending an entire day doing that, it leaves you kind of little time for crafting. But we will definitely be on Saturday for our Saturday Crafternoon show. So for you guys that are doing that's the weekly show that we have, and it's on Saturdays at noon Eastern Standard Time. So if you're interested in that, just tune in and we'll see you there. Okay, so let me set this over to the side and let's get going because we got a few things, like I said. So like I said, Mother's Day's coming up and we want to kind of jump into a project, and then after I'm going to just kind of talk about the project, then we'll take a little break and do a little segment and get some crafting news in. So first, let's talk about the project that we're going to make today, because I wanted to make just really simple. I mean, these are like really simple 5-minute projects. That's all it's going to take you. And you can do this for mom, right? And so one of the things that you can do, and things that I'm going to be using, are some really basic items. You probably already have it in your craft room. Just grab yourself some fabric. This is just one that I got on clearance a while back. And this was when Pioneer Woman made her debut, and she made her debut in Walmart. And then I think they were pulling things out or whatever. But this is totally a project that you can make with any kind of fabric, but this is one that I had on hand and I thought this would be really nice. My mom would like this fabric. But this is a little project that, even your kids can make, right? Your kids can make this project. I mean, this is such an easy project. You're gonna laugh at how easy it is. So grab yourself some fabric. I promise you don't need this much. It's really small amount, and I'll tell you exactly how much it is. And then I have this fusible interfacing that I got from the dollar store, guys. So don't use your good stuff. You don't really need good stuff. Just, take the cheapy stuff because that's all you're really going to need. And it's $1.25 at the dollar store. It's fusible interfacing. So I love to buy that for those little tiny little projects like these that, I don't have to use my good stuff and I really need just small pieces. And this works totally fine for what we're doing. And then all you're going to need is your iron. You'll need your rotary blade to cut out the pieces of fabric and your sewing machine. I mean, really, really simple. And we're going to be making two things. So we're going to make, the first project we're going to make is a little gift card holder. Really simple. You open it up and you can put your little gift card in there, you know? So little gift for mom, you're getting her a little gift card. You can kind of stick that in here. And then I kind of decorated it with a little bow, but you can put anything. You can embellish anything out. So, hopefully you guys will see that. Let me move this over so it's out of my way. Okay. So this is one of the projects we're going to be making. The second project that we're going to make is a little notebook holder. You know, who can't use that? You guys can even use this for yourselves, for your craft room, right? We've got a little notebook here, and we have a PDF down in the description, and it's got a little notebook that you can make yourself, and it's got little quotes on here on the top, and I'll just read you a couple of them. So it says, "Thank you for always making room for from my heart to yours. Every time I shine, it's because of the light you lit inside me." So these are like really nice Mother's Day type of quotes. And I think it's pretty neat. It says, "Motherhood is your superpower, and I've been blessed to be raised by it." So cute little sayings that we decided to put up on the top here. And we designed a little notebook that you guys can print out and use for your little notebook holder. So you do need to print it out double-sided so that you can get, you know, the best optimal printing here. But then also on the back, we've got some little coupons for you. So there's little coupons that you can give to mom. So here's one little coupon that's blank, and you guys can fill it in and give her a little coupon of anything that you would want. And then, oh, you're welcome, Heather. Glad you like it. And then on the next page, we actually did a coupon for you right here that says, Mom's Night In, face mask, fuzzy socks, and a craft of your choice. So this is something that you can give to mom. I'm sure that she would appreciate it. And I think, you know, she'll really enjoy that. And then she can use the little notebook. If you've got your little sewing room, you can jot down little notes like, hey, when's the last time you changed your needle or cleaned out your machine? Put a little date on there so you know when the last time it was that you did that. And then when you go to clean it again, you can see how long ago it was. Yeah, good thing to do there. Keep track of your little things in your craft room, or you can do other things. You can use it for so many other things, little reminders, appointments, you know, anything that you like. You can just keep it in your purse. Sometimes, you know, you just need a little piece of paper or something you need to write down when you see someone, when you're out and about. And I think, you know, these are kind of useful and little great gifts. Yes, Lisa, great gifts. Thanks. So, you know, they're just little practical little gifts that you can add on to whatever it is that you're gifting to mom, you know, and I'm sure she would appreciate this because, you know, it's going to be a lot of opportunities for her to use this. And it's got different quotes throughout the book. So it should be a lot of fun. So you can also, if you don't want to print out the little booklet that we are giving you in the PDF, you can also go to the dollar store and you can pick up these little mini composition notebooks. They look like this. I believe they sell them in Walmart as well. You can get like a whole pack of them. So these are really nice to do. Hey, Heather. Thank you, Heather. Thanks for becoming a member. We appreciate it. Thanks for your support. So these little notebooks are really nice because, you know, they can be swapped out. So let's say that you printed out, the notebook we gave you, and then she finished it up, it's easily, you can use it again, right? So you just slip this out here, and you can take this off, and it's reusable, because then you can kind of just pull this one out, and then you can kind of pull the new one and just slip it into the slots right here. You get the other side in. There you go. And then you've got yourself a brand new notebook. See that? Now, other things that you can do besides embellishing this like crazy, you could bedazzle the heck out of this, right? You can embroider on it, maybe put their initials, maybe their little name. If you have an embroidery machine, something really small and simple, you can do that as well. Just note that that's going to take a little bit of bulk, so you might want to add another, maybe 1/4 inch or something to the side just to give it that extra flexibility. But yeah, really, really simple little gifts that you can make for mom. And it's not going to cost you much because you can grab your stuff from your craft room. And I think it's going to be really appreciated by moms out there. They like this stuff, right? Especially knowing that you've made it. So definitely hope you guys enjoy that, because it's going to be really, really quick and a lot of fun. So let's get to our crafting news so we can get that going. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and make these little projects. So let's flip over to our segment. We've got some crafting news here because it's Mother's Day weekend and there's a lot of things going on. Okay, so we went through the internet and we found some information, and this is what we found for you for this weekend. So we have a special Mother's Day event that is blooming in Janesville, Wisconsin. And the Rock County Historical Society is hosting Airing of the Quilts. And this is a colorful quilt expedition and fundraiser, and that's happening on May the 10th and May the 11th. Now, this name comes from an old tradition of airing quilts that freshens them up, and they hang them inside out to let the breeze do the work. That was the whole tradition that they did. So local quilters will come down there and they'll display their handmade treasures, and visitors can come and enjoy their live demos. There'll be a story walk and even an ice cream social. So it's happening from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. each day, and that is a nice way to, give a little treat to mom, maybe get some ice cream and honor some of the moms there. And you can do that. It's nearby in the area, so why not go ahead and pay them a little visit. Again, that's May the 10th and May the 11th in Janesville, Wisconsin. Okay, so if you are in the area of Sparta, New Jersey, we've got another fun event for you. This is the Sparta Historical Society is opening up an exhibit, and they're calling it Quilts More Than Meets the Eye. It's from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Van Kirk Homestead Museum, and they're going to have 40 quilts, including the famous Van Kirk Crazy Quilt. And in 1854, it was a treasure called the Nycac Album Quilt. So they've got quilts that are being inspired by Egyptian and Hawaiian techniques. That's pretty interesting. Now, each room in the museum is going to have its own quilt themes, which I thought that was pretty cool. The kids and the families can do a little scavenger hunt. They're going to have other handmade, hands-on activities. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they'll have an expert quilter come on, and she's going to give a special talk, and her name is Barbara Thomas from Suffolk County. Now, admission is free, so it's a great way to go ahead and spend your Sunday there. And it gives you a little bit of quilting history. So that's pretty cool. So, let's see. The third thing that we have in Norwich, New York. We've got not sure if I say this right. My pronunciations sometimes are off, but in Gersony Sewing Club, I think that's how you say it. It's on Saturday, May the 10th from 9 a.m. to 3:30 at the Gersony Memorial Library on Court Street. they're going to have an open sew day, and you can bring your sewing machine, your projects, your supplies, and you can spend the day with them just sewing. That's cool. You've got a club member, Julia Whitney, she says it's not a class, it's just a fun way to relax and sew and share some ideas with some new friends. It was all started by a group of little local sewists, and the club is all about connection, creativity, and community. So if you've got a little project that you've been meaning to finish, then that's just a perfect time to head over there. No fees, no pressure, just sewing and smiles. Awesome. So those are all the little events that are going on in the area. So if you are looking for something to do with mom and you're in some of those areas there, you may want to check some of that out. Okay, so let's get to our project because we've got some sewing to do. So I'm going to bring this over. The first one I think we're going to tackle is the little gift card holder here. Okay, and the little gift card holder's super simple. I'm going to need you to cut out a piece of fabric. And you're going to want to cut this piece of fabric out 4 by 6. So it's 4 by 6 inches. Go ahead and cut that out. Yep, that's all you need. Very, very small piece of fabric. And by the way, you can get these little fabric rolls from the dollar store. And that would be perfect for this type of project. I mean, it's really not that much that you need. And then I want you to go ahead and grab that little interface. It's a fusible interface that we've got here. And you're going to cut it to the same size, 4 by 6. And then we're going to head over to our little ironing board. And I'm going to bring that over. I've got this little ironing board that I picked up at, where did I pick this up? This was in Sarasota. Sarasota Sews. She's got some really cool little ironing boards that actually are handmade by a little couple, it's an elderly couple. And she sells them to her, and she brings them over to Sarasota Sews, and then Sarasota Sews sells them for her. So it's a great way to kind of help them out. And I really, I think it's pretty well made. I like how it's nice and sturdy, really nice, thick little ironing board. So it's pretty cool. So I use this for my little projects. Okay, let's see. Hey, Fran. Oh, your daughter. Oh, wow. Well, thank you for your service, Fran. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank your daughter for your service. Awesome. I love that. I see you guys are just chatting away in there and welcoming people. Yes. Hey, Fran. Thank you so much. Thank your daughter for your service, Fran. Those are always, always nice. Okay, so let me go ahead. I've got the fabric. I'm going to go ahead and iron that out. And then what you're going to do is you're going to grab your interface and line that up. And I want you to just take the glue side. Let me put this one because I have one here. Yeah, put the glue side down and then go ahead and iron that right to the back of your fabric. And this is just going to give it a little bit of body. And then go ahead and iron this. Awesome. And that's all you need to do. Isn't that simple? Cute little ironing board. Thanks, Faker McFake. Yeah, I think it's really cute, and I really love that. It was made by that little couple, and it's a nice way to kind of help them out. So all you have to do is, again, cut that little piece of fabric out and cut the little interface out, 4 by 6 inches. Iron that fusible down, and then all we're going to do is have to sew 2 little sides, and then you can start embellishing it. So This is the little gift card holder. You may want to take a little card and see kind of what size it is that you want to make. I just kind of eyeballed it. I kind of folded it up here. And then I just folded it down just to kind of get an idea of what size I wanted. And then you can kind of hold it up against a card just to see if that's the size that you're looking to do. You can use a little business card. I've got this little Amazon gift card here, and I'm just kind of using that there. And that actually will work. Is the interface you're using like SF101? It's just a fusible interface. Exactly, SF101 would work. I'm just using a really cheap one that I got from the dollar store. But yeah, if you've got some scraps of SF101, that will totally work. Exactly. This is kind of the equivalent to that. It's kind of like the really cheapy version of it. But, you know, it works for these little projects. That's perfect for me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold that. And then what I like to do is just kind of take it to the iron really quick and just give it a little bit of press just to make that little crease for myself. And that's all I'm going to do there. Could you provide the info below for where to get those ironing boards? Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat. If we can. It's from a store that I visited in Sarasota. They're called Sarasota Sews. And I believe the lady's name is Dawn, and she's super sweet, and she runs the little store, and she gets these ironing boards from a little couple that makes them for her, and she's just a doll. She's really, really neat. So there's the link for you. And I'm going to bring over my little sewing machine here. Let me turn this on. Now I'm using the Brother HC1850. It's a pretty old machine that I've had on hand for quite some time, but it's a little powerhouse. It likes to work for me, and it'll do just fine for now. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to head and open up this here, and I'm going to have, again, you're going to fold it down, and we're going to just sew right here all the way down on both sides. And I'm only going to do about 1/8 of an inch, depending on the card that you're looking to slip in. You know, 1/4 of an inch sometimes will be a little too snug, and then you won't be able to get the card in. So you can do like 1/4 inch scant, or you could do about 1/8 of an inch, whatever it is that you're going to need to do in order to get that card inside so that it fits. I think 1/8 of an inch is absolutely perfect to get any card size in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let me get this going. We've got our sew cam. Here we go. And let me get the big light on. There we are. Okay. We added an extra little light here to make it a little better. So let's see. Okay. Let me grab my little sewing foot. Now, again, I'm just doing 1/8 of an inch. So my little sew tape here has got the center mark here in red, and then you've got the 1/4 inch here off to the side. So I'm just going to kind of go in between here. And it doesn't have to be exact, but I've got my little guide here, but I'm not going to bump it up to the guide because I don't want the 1/4 inch. I want 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to kind of just line up here as best I can. And we're only sewing from the end to the, whoops, my little light went off. There we go. We're only sewing from one end to the edge or end of this right here. We're not going all the way up. Now let's see here. Let me try to get this a little more centered. Yeah, I think that'll work. My little light keeps turning off. I think the battery's kind of going on it. But hopefully you guys can see. I've got the other light in. All right, there we go. So I think we're all set. Now you can back stitch on both ends when you're starting and when you are finishing. Yeah, the little light went off again, so I think the little battery or something needs to be changed. That's okay. I think you guys can see and get the gist of it. It's just a tiny little project. So I'm going to go ahead and drop my needle in and start it off. Now I did not hold my thread, so I see it's already being pulled in, but that's okay. Let me back stitch a little bit, and then we're going to go ahead. There we go, and I'll back stitch a little. And the back stitch is really just to reinforce it, because since they're going to be using this a lot, they're going to be pulling and tugging on that top area. So I want to make sure that it's nice and flat. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn this over and do the same thing on the other side. Try to hold my tails this time, but if I don't, that's okay. It'll just sink in. And I'm going to go ahead and try again to do 1/8 of an inch. It's a little hard for me to do this because I have the camera in the way, but I want you guys to see it. I think that's more important. So if it comes out a little off, that's okay. I just want you guys to get the gist of it. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to back stitch to reinforce, and then I'll go ahead and stitch that in place. Awesome. Alrighty. I didn't back stitch on that edge, but that's fine because you really don't have to, because that's the end of it. Okay, so let me cut my threads, and I left my snips back here, so let me reach over and grab that here. And it's got a lot of fray, so you will have a lot of fray, but we're going to be using our pinking shears to kind of get rid of some of that fray. That kind of helps a little bit. Now, if you really wanted to kind of doll this up and not have any frays, what you can do, instead of doing 4 by 6 inches, you can do like 4.5, right? And I'm sorry, 6.5, because 4 is going to be this way. Just add that 1/2 inch, you know, all the way around, and then you can fold it in and just, you know, fold over the edges so you don't show the raw edges. And then you can just kind of sew it down just so you can make it nice and clean on that. Alrighty. So I've got all of my frays. Let me move this over a little bit. Got my frays here, and I've got lots of threads here. Okay, so we've got our little pouch here, as you can see. Now I'm going to go ahead. One thing you can do here is just fold it in half. Okay, once you have that folded in half, you're going to want to maybe make a little curve. So we're going to just cut just a slither. It's not a lot. Just make a little curve on the end so that your ends are curved. Now, if you want to keep it squared, you can do that as well. So I'm going to grab my little scissors and make a little bit of a curve here. You can do it with your rotary cutter if you feel more comfortable. Okay. Grab. I got little tiny threads that don't want to cut. There we go. I think we got it. And the reason you're folding it in half is so that when you cut it, it's nice and symmetrical. So now you've got your little curve here on the ends here. You can see that. Got my nice little curve there. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pinking shears and I'm just going to cut all the way around. Be very careful not to cut your stitches here. I'm just going to barely even touch the edges here and just give it that little pink edge here. And I'm just giving it a little bit of that trim, and then when you get over to the top, you know, you decide how deep you want it to have that little look to it. So let's just grab the top here And I'm going to move over to the other side. I'm going to continue to go all the way around, make the little curve, and then just come down the edge here. There we go. And now I'm off to the very bottom. And I'm going to turn it this way. There we go. Okay. It's a little bit of a mess, but you can clean it up really quick. Okay, and there you have it. You have your nice little pouch, and then I can go ahead and put my card inside. You can see it fits nicely. And you've got your little pouch here with your little peach edged. Let me see if I can raise it up like this way so you guys can see it. Okay. And then now you can kind of embellish it. You know, you can add little rickrack things to it, or you can tie and make a little bow. Now, in order to make the little bow, it's super simple. Just grab a strip of fabric. I did a 1-inch piece of fabric, and you don't need to do it more than 6 inches. You can do a little longer depending how long you want your tails to be. But go ahead and do between 6 and 8 inches. And then you just fold them in and then fold it upon itself and go ahead and sew it just so that the raw edges are on the inside, and then just make the little bow. And that's all you got to do. And you can, what I did is I sewed the little tails to the actual top here. That way it stays on. But if you want to keep it plain like this, you can. You can maybe put a little button on there if you wanted to. You know, you can do tons of things with this to kind of make it your own. Awesome. I'm glad you guys like it. And it's very easy to do. You saw how it just took a few minutes to do it, right? And then you can easily just put a little gift card for mom and kind of gift it to her that way, or just add it to the little basket that maybe you're putting together, right? Super, super simple. And it's just a nice, thoughtful way for you to tell her that, you know, you were thinking about her. So I thought that's a really cute project. So that's really easy to do. And then our next project is the little notebook holder. And we saw the little notebook holder. It's interchangeable. You can change it up with a little notebook that you can pick up at Walmart or the Dollar Tree, or you can go ahead and download the one that we are providing in the link below. So go ahead and grab that. It's got those little quotes and little coupons, and then you can just kind of put it into the sleeves here, and you've got a perfect little notebook. It's awesome. Okay, so in order to make this one super easy as well, let's get going on that. And I'm going to set this over to the side. And for this one, I used a piece of fabric that I cut up. I used the same exact one. And I'm going to take my fabric and I'm going to go ahead and press it, because this one was not pressed. So make sure that you're starting off with a nice flat piece of fabric. And you're going to want to cut this fabric. I believe it was 5. Let me just double check here. Yeah, it's 5 by 11. So 5 by 11 inches will fit this size notebook perfectly. And again, this is a mini composition notebook. So it'll fit this size just perfect, or you can use the one that we provided below as well, and that will fit it perfectly as well. And we're going to kind of do the same thing that we did with the little card holder. We're going to go ahead and flip this over to the wrong side of the fabric, and then we're going to grab some interfacing here, and I'm going to see here. I probably have to cut a little bit because I didn't cut it to size. So let me just line this up with the fabric. I'm going to use the fabric as my template, just so I can cut this down to size here. And I'm going to grab my little ruler here. And with my little ruler, I'm just going to line it up here. And I'm just going to cut the interface. So, and I missed my rotary. Oh, I put it away. So sorry. Thinking I didn't need the rotary cutter. Yet I put it away. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the little interface piece off that I have here. Just a tiny little piece that we don't need. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to iron my interface to the fabric. Bonnie says, what are the dimensions of that cute little ironing board? I'm in Texas and we'll make one. Let me see the dimensions. Let's see. Looks like it is 6 by, actually the very point of it is 12. So 6 by 12 inches. Cute little size, you know, and it's really nice, but the little couple that makes them, and I think they do a good job too. You can see here, I can kind of lift it. You can see the hard board, and then they've got some batting in here and other stuff in here that makes it nice and thick. So I really like that. But yeah, very easy to do as well. I just like to support that, it's a little elderly couple that makes that, and they were really cute, and I wanted to just support them. But yeah, you can totally make these on your own, and then have a little, gosh, what do you call it? A little area where you can kind of slide through the elastic here. So you could use that, and then that will kind of keep it nice and snug. So that's pretty cool. I talked more about the ironing board, and I showed a couple of the other things that they have in the video. If you look at my videos, I believe it's just called Sarasota Sews, my trip to Sarasota Sews or something like that. Go ahead and search for that, and you can see I'll show the ironing board. And then Dawn kind of talks about the story as well, and she shows some of the other items that she has in her shop. That's pretty cool. Okay, so for the interface, I kind of start in the middle. Again, glue dots are toward the bottom because you don't want to get that on your iron. And then you can go ahead and just work your way out towards the edges. And then I kind of just move this way. And I just kind of work my way towards the edge. And then you're going to want to just kind of flip it over and give it a little press on the other side as well. There we go. So it just gives it a little bit of body, and I just kind of like to add. Now, can you get away with not having the interface? Yeah, you probably could, but I like to have a little bit of body on my projects. So I think it's better to have the interface on there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move this over to the side. Again, we have our nice little piece here. Now, what we're going to do is you're going to fold this. You're going to measure this out, and you're going to fold. You want 2 inches. So from the end here, let me make sure you guys can see. You're going to kind of line it up. We're going to go 2 inches in, and I'm going to give it a little fold. So you're going to want to fold in at 2 inches, and then you're going to want to do the same thing on the other side because these are going to be your sleeves. So go ahead and fold that in, and then fold the other side 2 inches as well. And I kind of just use my cutting mat to line it up. And then just fold that. And then I like to kind of bring it over again. Just give it a little press. Kind of define that fold. Kind of already has it, but I like to kind of define it. So just give it a little press there. And then I will go to the other side and do the same thing. It already has my little crease. And I'm going to give it a little press here. Okay, and so you basically have your little notebook already. Now all we have to do is bring it over to the sewing machine, and we're just going to do 1/8 of an inch right here on the edges, just to kind of secure that in place. You're going to want to back stitch on the beginning and end, just reinforce that, because they're really going to be tugging on this as they slip in new notebooks in and out. So you don't want that unraveling on you here. So make sure that your edges here are nice and secure, and do that little back stitch, because that really does help. And then once you've done that, you'll have your little notebook that you can kind of slip in. Now, if you wanted to, you can take it right at this point just to make sure that it's going to fit, right? So you can slide this in here, and you know that this is what it's going to look like. It'll have a little bit of space here because you need to give a little bit of give for when it actually folds in. But once you have it folded, you can see that this is nice and secure. Okay. So let's go ahead now. I'm going to grab my sewing machine. Let me move this over a little bit. And let's just sew up these little edges here. Okay. All right, let's see. We've got our sew cam all set up. I was trying to grab my little tails, and I keep forgetting them, that they're back here. There we are. Okay, so I'm going to line up this edge here that I know I need to sew. And again, I'm going to do 1/8 of an inch, not 1/4 inch, because I want to have as much space as I can to be able to then kind of pinch the edges here. So let me just grab my little petal here and go ahead and drop the needle. And I'm going to do just a couple of stitches, and then I'm going to back stitch here. And then go ahead and stitch that 1/8 of an inch. Okay, and then you're going to do the same thing. You can back stitch. You don't really need to back stitch on this area, but the one you want to really back stitch on is this front right here, where it's really going to have a lot of pull. So get that in, and then I'm going to snip my threads here, kind of get that out of the way. And then I'm going to move over to the other side and do the same thing. So again, this is where the fold is, so no need to really backstitch there, but you can if you want to. And I'm going to go ahead and line this up so that I can stitch it at 1/8 of an inch and drop the needle in. I'd like to hold my threads if I could. There we go. And then go ahead and sew that in, and then you back stitch, and there you go. And you always want to make sure you use a coordinating thread, because if you're using a really dark color and you use white thread, you know it's going to show. So try to use that coordinating thread when you're doing this, unless you want the threads to show, because you could also do that as well, and that gives it a little bit of a flare. So now you've got your little pouch on one side. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So go ahead and line it up, and then drop the needle down, and then go ahead and sew your 1/8 of an inch, and then do your little back stitch. There we go. And then go ahead and do the last side. There we go. And I'm going to line that up here. Okay, drop that needle. I'm going to do a little back stitch here. And then go ahead and do the 1/8 of an inch. Okay. And I'm going to set this over to the side now. We're all done with our sewing machine, so let's move that over to the side. And now I'm just going to cut my threads. As you can see, again, you're still going to have a lot of fray. Now, you could also use no fray to help you out with that, but go ahead and cut all your little threads. And we're going to use our pinking shears just to kind of tame down all of that fray. Okay, I think I got the majority of the threads here. And you can see we've got our nice little pouch here. That will work. And I'm going to grab, once again, my little pinking shears, and I'm just going to go around both sides and give it a little bit of that little design that I like to see. Now, just be really careful that you do not cut your stitches. And then just kind of go here. I think it just gives it a nice little extra touch when you do that, and it kind of takes away all that fray. Okay. And if you do end up cutting your stitches, just go back to the sewing machine and try to do that. Sew one more time. Just make sure that when you're doing that, you're not going too far in, because the reason we're doing the 1/8 of an inch is we want to make sure that our notebook's going to be able to slip in and out. Okay. It makes a little bit of a mess, but it easily can be fixed, right? And here we are. And so we've got a couple little threads that I didn't cut last time. So let me grab these. There we go. Okay, now I just grab my little notebook here, and I'm going to slide it in. Slide in the front cover, and then slide in the back cover. And then you can close it up. And you have your nice little notebook all ready to go. Got these little frays. There we go. All of these little pieces from my little pinking shears. Didn't quite get some of them here. So there you go. You've got a nice little notebook now. You're all ready to go. You know, I think mom's really going to enjoy this. So really, really cool. You're at your age, you're more likely to complete simple, straightforward, and quick projects such as these. Awesome, Sassy. Yeah, and I think, you know, they're really, really cool. And it's something that she can use. It's very practical, and they're quick and easy to make. So now let's move over to our inspirational quote of the day, because we got to get our next segment in. So let's go over to that. Okay, so today's quote of the day is, "Time spent crafting is never wasted. It's an investment in yourself and joy." Awesome. Yes. And I think that really sums it up for today, because, you know, crafting is an awesome, thing to do. It really helps you emotionally as well. And, you can grow your skill set and do so many different amazing things for the people we love. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Now we're going to do a quick little, we usually have our top comedy 5, but we're going to be playing a little game today. So we're going to be playing truth or fabrication. And I hope you guys really enjoy this little segment. So we're going to ask you to participate in the chat. We're going to show 2 phrases on here, and you need to let us know which one is the true statement. So let's go ahead and get that segment going. Okay. So truth or fabrication, which one is true? You need to pick either the first one or the second one. Just type in number 1 or number 2 in the chat. So truth or fabrication, then the first one is murder quilt. In 1915, women made a quilt during a murder trial, and years later, someone else confessed to the crime. Is that one true? Or number 2, war quilt. During World War II, a woman hid war codes in the quilt patterns to pass secrets behind enemy lines. So which one do you think is true? Is it number 1 or is it number 2? Type it in the chat. Let me know which one you think is the correct one. I see some people are going in. Which one is true? Mariana says 1. Heather says 1. Boricua Sewing and Crafts. Hey, that's my sister. She says 2. Davida says 2. Sassy says 2. I hope. Fran, Faker, and Barbara say 2. A lot of 2s on here. A lot of people think number 2 is the true one. Okay. And the correct answer is number 1. Number 1 is actually the true statement there. Yes, I know. I got that one mixed up too. But yeah, actually, the number 1 is true. So let's move over to our next one. The second one is, first statement is, smells good. A seamstress once made a suit entirely out of recycled fabric softener sheets. Is that true? Or stained fabric. A famous fabric designer finished a video only to realize she'd cut herself with a rotary cutter and was trying not to bleed on the fabric. So which one is true? Number 1 or number 2? No, a little gory there, right, Jenny? Which one do you guys think is true? Number 1 or number 2? The seamstress that made the suit out of fabric softener sheets, is that true? Or the famous fabric designer that finished the video just to realize that she cut herself with a rotary cutter? Davida says number 2. Number 2. Number 1. Okay, getting all the answers in. Okay, so the correct... The correct one is actually number 2. Yes, a famous fabric designer, and that actually happened at the Pack Quarter Shop, believe it or not. So yes, number 2 was the true statement. Okay, let's go to our next one. So the next one is so secure. A man once sewed his passport into his jacket lining and was detained at the airport security for not being able to show it. Is that true? Or, so Birdie, Spite the parakeet, learned to cross-stitch by watching her owner and was named Young Cross-Stitcher of the Year by a sewing magazine. Which one is true? Number 1 or number 2? Linda says number 1. Robin says she's 0 for 2. Fran says ouch. Evelyn says 2. All right. Yeah, this one kind of threw me off too. Fran says 1. Mariana says 2. Okay, so the correct statement is number 2. Yes, the parakeet learned to cross-stitch by watching her owner. Isn't that really cool? Awesome, awesome. Alrighty, well, I hope you guys really enjoyed that today. I think it was a lot of fun. And I just want to take this time to say Happy Mother's Day for all of you out there on this Sunday. I hope you guys really enjoy your day. And remember that I'm going to be back tomorrow for our Saturday Crafternoon show at 12 Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you guys will be there. So I guess, this is almost 9 o'clock now, so we need to run over to Becky's channel. So if you guys are kind of those YouTube junkies, we like to kind of head over to Power Tools with Threads because I'm sure she's got something wonderful for us. Thank you guys all for tuning in, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. laughed once again.